Welcome to this explainer. I want you to imagine the sky just exploding with a massive 4th of July fireworks display, right? Now put that huge modern spectacle right next to an old, cracked bronze bell, just sitting quietly in the dark. That wild contrast? That is exactly where our story kicks off today. Because believe it or not, exactly 250 years ago, the folks in 13 colonies took a massive, literally unimaginable leap. They pushed all their chips to the center of the table and bet everything they had on an idea that had quite literally never worked before in human history. So, with this monumental 250-year milestone staring us right in the face, we kind of have to confront the elephant in the room. The tension-building question nobody really wants to say out loud. Is the experiment actually still working? Okay, let's dive into part 1, the radical original bet, 1776. To really get where we are today, we have to transport ourselves back to a dimly lit room with ink just pooling onto parchment. It is so easy for us to forget today that this was absolutely not a proven system. It was a massive gamble. Self-government wasn't some inevitable victory. It was an immense, terrifying risk taken by ordinary people crossing a stormy ocean. So, what were they actually betting on? Well, no king, no permanent ruling class. Just the completely radical idea that power originates directly from the people, and, crucially, that it can be taken back by them. Moving on to part 2, the visible cracks today and anxieties in the modern era. Let's look objectively at where that original bet stands right now. We all feel these modern anxieties, right? Trust in our institutions is sitting at near historic lows. We're seeing these wild swings in voter turnout. Small towns are hollowing out, and political division is deepening rapidly. You can see these cracks perfectly when you look at civic participation. You get crowded, super energetic polling places one year, and then completely empty voting booths the very next. It really captures the wild whiplash in how we engage today. But here's the thing, none of this is exactly new. Overlapping protests, deep political divisions, we've seen that throughout history. But what is different is that it's all accelerating. The sheer speed at which we're experiencing these cracks today is noticeably increasing. Which brings us to part 3, what holds it together? The quiet glue. We constantly hear about the loud problems in the headlines, but we almost never talk about the quiet mechanics actually sustaining the whole thing. The system was basically built to bend without breaking. Its true, enduring resilience doesn't actually come from being totally rigid. It comes from an intentional flexibility designed specifically to absorb immense shock. Think about things like peaceful transfers of power or courts overruling precedents. These are the completely unglamorous but absolutely vital institutional checks that keep the experiment intact, even through the worst political storms. But you know what the real quiet glue is? It's just showing up, voting, keeping local institutions running. It's literally millions of ordinary people, teachers, medical staff, construction workers, doing this everyday maintenance without anyone ever really noticing. And that leads us to our final section, the real question, looking forward. Let's turn the lens directly onto ourselves for a second. There is this deep, almost funny historical irony here. Every single generation has believed their era might finally break it. Every previous generation, staring up at that exact same weathered flag, thought their specific crises would be the ones to shatter the system for good. But as it turns out, so far, none of them have been right. Despite the incredibly messy, overlapping crises of the past 2.5 centuries, the system has endured. There is just this profound historical resilience there that we really can't ignore. Which leaves us with one final, provocative challenge. Is this generation willing to do the boring, unglamorous work of keeping it running? The true test isn't some flashy moment. It's the daily, quiet maintenance by everyday citizens. So are we willing to step up? Because even 250 years later, it is still an experiment. I'm going to leave you to reflect on that for a bit. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.